Right, here's the workbench. It's fully loaded. It does come with a couple of pegboards. Alright, today we're going to bring a tool bench, and when you get out of the box, this is how pretty much how it comes out. It's a little heavy. You might need two people to move the box around. So we're going to put it together and see how it looks. Alright, first structure finish. Alright, this took me about maybe 30 minutes itself. Alright. Just make sure that these are facing up. The flat part is facing up. All right, be sure of that. Make sure you follow the instructions. The instructions are very hard to they're not legible that well. You can't see them very good, so I actually had to go change page 3 to find out that these is flat, because you can't see on the paper. It's too small, it's too thin. In fact, this is the paper, and you can't really tell until you actually zoom in with a camera how they're supposed to be up. All right, so just be sure about that when you're building the structure. Just to let you know, this long pole that goes all the way to the top, it has to be on the outside, sandwiched in with the inside. All right, and then you're able to stabilize it in the top. So this is gonna be the top. This is the back of it, right? I just want you to know that the holes go up, the larger holes. This is probably the hardest part of the whole thing. It took me more than 45 minutes to build, because this is very tight to actually, these sausage fingers don't fit in there. So you got to make sure you screw it. So I did the opposite, one end the opposite, the other end the opposite, so it could be tighter on both ways. Yeah, my cat's looking at me like, what are you doing out there? So this thing was, it's not sturdy in the middle, so I might end up putting something in the middle if I'm gonna end up adding some heavy duty stuff. Just be careful, because the middle is like the weakest part of this. It's hanging on through these screws, and they use the same screws everywhere. So just to give you a heads up. And there is another entry here, but it's a little difficult to enter. It took me about an hour and a half, maybe a little bit, almost under 2 hours to build the whole thing. It's sturdy enough, but I don't trust the wood. It's a little too thin, and if I sit on it, I might break it. And I'm about 250, somewhere around there. Now these are also a little flimsy, so maybe I might replace them down the line. I'm gonna probably replace this one and cut it out. So I'm gonna take the measurements exactly the same, maybe get a thicker, stronger board down the line, because this is probably gonna get damaged throughout the years. You could replace this, and you could replace the two boards. It does come with pegboards, if you guys can see it. So the way it works, you could put them pretty much anywhere, and they line up. And also they have grips in the bottom and the back. You could just grip them on anywhere, pretty much anywhere you want, and they hang up in there. This one's gonna be facing up, so you could grab any tool. Just find yourself a pegboard, drop it in there, and there we go. So you can set this up however you want, and I'm gonna show you some of the top that you need to see. Okay, the board on the top goes underneath, so these have to be flipped out. Flat has to be facing down, and you can start setting up tools in the back and the top too. There's no support in the center, so don't push anything back. It might fall, but other than that, it looks wonderful. We're gonna load it up with our tools, because we do have a lot of tools that we're gonna set up in here, and like to come and set up and make sure that I could grab my tool and go. I did load it up, but I got plenty of room in the bottom. I don't want to fill it up completely. I want to be able to grab stuff. This is where I'm going to be doing a lot of my work. This is not going to last long, I know that. Moisture out here is going to probably damage it. I might get something that's water resistant, swap it out. But the good thing about it is you can swap out the system itself. If you guys can see, my pegboards are fully loaded. I need to get different kinds of pegboards. I got a lot more tools in the other shed, but I put in just the stuff that I need now in hand, and grab and go kind of thing. I got my soldering iron here. I got my drill, my pretty much a lot of tools I need around the time. I could just grab and go. So it was easy to set up, but the hardest part was the pegboard, and some of the screws didn't want to fit in, so I had to use a screw to actually line up the holes. But other than that, it was very simple. I did it by myself. Carrying it, you might need two people. Putting it in there after it's fully loaded, you might need two people. It's a little heavier. It gets heavier, of course, when you put it in the wood and everything else, and dragging it out. You could add wheels. They do sell options to buy wheels for these kind of systems. So that's an option I'm gonna look into, maybe later down the line, get some wheels. But overall, I put it in my shed out here. It fits well. I got extra room for extra stuff, extra layers, and I'm gonna load it up with a lot more things. Actually, I'm gonna put a 3D printer right here. So very simple, easy to use. I hope you guys enjoy the video. 99.6 of you are not subscribers in my channel. I hope that the content helps you out and that you find it very useful. And I hope you hit the like and subscribe.